Hello everybody. Today in this video, we're going to be doing a Jason tier list for Camp Forest Green. And the reason why I wanted to do this video is because one, I've been feeding y'all a lot of gameplay with mixing it up by doing a few challenges and testing around with the new Jasons, and honestly with the whole entire Endure update. That's also another reason why I wanted to do this tier list, because they did this Blood and Balance update. So without further ado, let's get started on this tier list here. Alright, we're going to start off with part 3, since he's already right here. And his stats are can run, weapon strength, grip strength. His weaknesses are stun resistance, sense, and stock. And the reason why I gotta say this Jason is S tier, I gotta say part 3 is S tier, many things. One, this guy can hold himself down in a jump when the counselors gangbang and jump him. Because number one is weapon strength. With weapon strength, you do a lot more damage. And people without thick-skinned, I believe it's 2 hits until you're limp. With thick-skinned, it's like 3 or 4. I think it's 3 or 4. I don't know which one, but because I don't pay attention to any of this. But weapon strength is a real big factor here when it comes to getting jumped. And basically, we call that a kill match. Because when you get jumped, you get the mask off. You kill 2, they come back with Tommy, they try to kill you. So we're going to call it a kill match. So basically, in a kill match, part 3 would be ideal because of these 3 factors. 1, he doesn't have defense minus defense. 2, he has weapon strength. 3, he spawns with 3 knives, which knives are needed as well. And if you play your cards right, you can do a thing that's a tech called a combo, to where you can you slash. First you slash, throw a throwing knife at them, then slash again. That's a combo. And when you do that, it cripples them within one whole animation move you did. Slash, knife, slash. And he's really useful for kill matches, in my opinion, as well. Weapon strength is ideal, and part 3 doesn't have that minus defense, so his mask is pretty tough. I'd say like decently tough, so that's why I think he's ideal for kill matches, because his weapon strength helps with that. I mean, if we're grabbing as well. Part 3 also, well, if you sniper shift someone, sniper shift is where you pop stock, you morph far away from them, and you shift on them from a far distance, grabbing them without the counselor being aware that they got grabbed. It's very ideal because 1, the counselor cannot kick out of your arms immediately, and 2, you can do any kill you want with a certain amount of time before they break out. So that's why, and then also our third thing is can run. Can run is very useful, matter of fact, because you can zone a counselor and pressure them out of stamina by just simply jogging after them and holding your shift. Especially with the lower speed counselors and the lower stamina counselors, they will run out of stamina, and mainly in public lobbies. A lot of public lobby players run out of stamina very quickly. So if you just jog after them the whole time, break down the door, and they don't really have good stamina management, you'll be able to burn their stamina instantly with a can run Jason. Any can run Jason can work. And that's why I think that can run is very helpful as well. And can run, I mean, this Jason is mainly used in comp as well when I was a comp player. He was good for objective rushing because he has 5 traps. Those 5 traps are very handy. 2 of them go on the phone. 1 of them go on the car. Or 2 of them can go on the car, but 1 of them can go on the car. And that leaves you 2 extra traps to do whatever you want with them. So he's not a weakness in traps because his idle tools are knives and traps. Knives and traps are very good to have. So that's why part 3, he doesn't really have any weaknesses that are super important. Aside from, like, because sense, you can still sense from pretty far with minus sense. Your stock is still pretty good with minus stock, either way. You won't be able to hear the Jason's Chase theme, and the camera will zoom out as if he's shifting, even though he's not shifting. And his stun resistance. Sure, he can be stunned a long time, but if you were to block, since CFG or Camp Forest Green has added a thing called block queuing, basically where blocking is way better off host. You can block hits, and if you don't block, the stun resistance is your consequence. With that being said, that's why I believe Part 3 can hold himself off in a kill match, and an objective match if they were to rush, because that's what we call OBJs. And then even a STN, which is Survive the Night, while looping against a Part 3 can stay on your ass. His shift is neutral, so he'll get it back decently quick. He can shift on you pretty much decently. And his knives are just normal. And if you're smart and gather a lot of knives, with 2 knives and 1 slash, if you throw 2 knives in someone's back and then slash, or 3 knives in the person's back and then slash, it's basically an insta-dead. Basically, because weapon strength really matters a lot, in my personal opinion. And the can run comes into effect, but his grip strength is not really a strength. I mean, if you want to do a long kill. But most smart Jasons do short kills, like head punch and decapitate. I just said the same thing. Head punch and choke. Let's go over his weaknesses again. But stun resistance, like I said, he's stunned for a super long time, which can be detrimental to certain situations. But if you play your cards right before, you can block. You can block, and if you know how to hold down objectives pretty well, and hold yourself up in a kill match, or an STM, which is Survive the Night, I would say this Jason here is the best Jason that you can use for a kill match, STN, and an OBJ, which is objective match. And that's why I'm putting him in S tier. Part 2. Part 2. Honestly, there's like, what mainly saves him, like, he has some good strengths, like plus morph, plus traps, and can run. He has some good saves. Like, he has some good saves with his strengths, in my opinion, but his weaknesses is minus shift, minus defense, and minus water speed. And I think, honestly, Part 2 is at least D tier, in my opinion. Here's why. He's good for holding himself off in objectives-wise, because with the traps and the morph, he can be back instantly on multiple spots. Let's just say one side is pushing Tommy, while the other side is pushing Phone. He can morph over there instantly. He's good for objectives. But for holding himself off in a fight, minus defense, that mask is coming off. And what's mainly stopping him is water speed. A boat can just fuck him up instantly. So I think, honestly, he's like at least high, like mid D, and maybe just D tier overall, because he can't hold himself off in an STN, Survive the Night. Sure, he can morph a lot, but morph takes a while for people to get around, and if you don't know how to morph cancel, it's pretty slow at morphing, and he can be stunned while in morph. His shift barely comes back enough times during an STN or a kill match if he wants to shift away and do a tactical retreat. And his water speed is really what messes him up if he's trying to catch the boat. So he's not really good to hold himself off in a kill match. He's only good on land for objectives wise. And if the car gets started, or the boat, he's practically fucked. Unless the boat or the car goes on a morph spot. And his water speed really messes him up. So honestly, with these bad weaknesses, this Jason, if the counselor is smart, can literally, the car can literally burn him instantly. What I mean by burn him is drive past him even while he's in shift. And that's why I think that Part 2 is honestly D tier. because he's not really good for a lot of things. If the counselor team is smart and they know how to and they coordinate together and are running hypochondriac, which lets you spawn with a spray, and medic, the part 2 is fucked. So that's why I honestly got to think he's going D tier. Part 4. He can run, weapon strength, and destruction, but his weaknesses are water speed, minus traps, minus shift. What really redeems him here is really his it's really what redeems him here is his weapon strength. He's like a better part 2 in a way. Or no. As for pressuring wise, like he can hold himself off in a kill match. Just fine. He's good for an STN if you know how to pressure because he can footwalk and that weapon strength is really going to be doing stuff. But without the weapon strength, the counselor, if they're running thick-skinned, that counselor can block about like with a weapon and thick-skinned. That counselor can block every shift. They can hold standstill and block every shift. And if they have a teammate with them each time he grabs, that part 2 is fucked. But part 4, on the other hand, weapon strength shreds through health, regardless of blocking or not. He can run, which helps with pressure, and he can instantly break things down if you're trying to loop him and lock things up. So, honestly, I think he's better than part 2 in my opinion, as in for pressure wise. While yes, part 2 can burn sprays a lot faster with traps, you can literally pocket knife all the traps, and if you have a smart team, you won't even need pocket knives if you have a smart team. And that's why I think part 4 is better than part 2 in my opinion. And while yes, with Endure, with Endure, they both have neutral Endure, it can save the mask. It's only like 80%. It's 80% reduction against a minus defense Jason. With a minus defense Jason for part 2, 3 guns, 1 clean heavy hit from like a Bugsy, mask is off. But with a part 4 though, his mask is staying on, even with 3 guns and a heavy hit from Bugsy. It's not going to be off, but it's going to be low at least. But honestly, part 4, better for pressure, better for kill match. So better for an STN, which is surviving the night, better for a kill match. So that's why I think since part 3 or part 4 can pressure more than a part 2 in my opinion, if they play their cards right and use their shift correctly and decisively, I believe part 4 is better than part 2. So I believe that he's D tier. Well, Dream Jason, one of the newer Jasons here. His stats: Morph, Stock, Weapon Strength. He can't run, Grip Strength, less hit points. So, what really helps him out here is his plus Morph and his Weapon Strength, but his Stock as well. I'd say he's like a weaker version of Part 5 in a way. While with the new buffs with Stock, he can easily bait a counselor into thinking he's shifting, and that counselor's going to run around like a doofus and burn a lot of stamina. So your Dream Jason here is more like a stealth Jason, in a way, I think. His plus morph can help him get pressure objectives pretty well. He's good for an STN as well, because of the weapon strength. His stock will help bait the counselor, and he can keep stock active because the camera will zoom out as if he's shifting. So I think so far, but his weaknesses are less hit points, grip strength, cannot run. While it's less pressure, I still think that less hit points, that mask is definitely coming off. Because with defense, you get stunned a lot more, but with less hit points, you just have less health overall. But with minus defense with part 2, I'm going to compare him back to part 2. Minus defense, you get stunned a lot more. And if you get stunned a lot, then that's not Jason you should be playing. But for Dream Jason, He doesn't really get stunned a lot, and not getting stunned a lot is also pretty much a bad thing because the more hits you eat, the more damage you take. And what I'm saying is, if a clean hit hits you and you don't get stunned, that's more damage. But Dream Jason, he'd be pretty good for, I'd say he'd be okay for a kill match, as long as he blocks and does not really get stunned. He'd be good for objectives, and good for an STN, which is Survive the Night. So I think, honestly, Dream Jason, in my opinion, even with the plus endure, even with plus endure, I think with the endure buff, which is 80% less, I think that he is at least, I'd say high B, low A. Part 5. Let's see. Strengths. Throwing knives. Stock. Can run. Weaknesses. Grip strength. Defense. Stun resistance. With part 5, he's good for pressure, as in for objectives wise. But his main issues are his defense. He's more likely to get stunned. His stun resistance. He'll be stunned for longer. And if you're someone that cannot block at all, part 5 is not your person to go to. His stock helps for good pressure, so he's good for Survive the Night. Because in Survive the Night, you're not really going to be hitting a lot. You're going to be looping and window hopping. In objective, you're not really going to be hitting a lot either. Objectively wise, he has a lot of knives off rip, so knives are good for combos and good pressure. He can run, which burns that stamina, and stock, that is also pretty good as well for applying that pressure and faking your shift to make the counselor burn their stamina. The grip strength, you're basically forced to do quick kills before they break out. So for like grab kills wise, it's not really that good. And that's honestly it. I think honestly, part 5 is A tier, in my opinion. Part 6. Basically a weaker part 5, but he has sense, throwing knives, and shift. It's basically a weaker part 5, but his mobility is his shift, so he gets around the map a little bit faster. But his defense cannot run in minus morph. Minus morph is pretty bad because in desperate times, they could be pushing objectives like cops, and you just morphed to car to trap it. By the time you get your morph back, the cops will be called. But with minus defense, you're also going to be getting stunned a lot. So you can't really do much in this scenario unless you know how to block well. And he can't run, so mainly his pressure is just shift. That's his big pressure. So pressure wise, his pressure knives are really pressure wise he's kind of okay, but I'd say okay to not bad. And he can't run, so his pressure is kind of not there. If he could run, but did not have the minus morph, he'd be on par with part 5. But I ultimately think he's B tier, not better than Dream Jason. Part 7. With part 7 you got here, you have him with plus rage, plus water speed, plus weapon strength, cannot run, traps, stun resistance. Kill match wise, I'd say he's pretty good because in kill matches, since they added block queuing to where you can block on higher ping and blocking is more responsive, I'd say he'd be good for a kill match. Traps, he's not really good for an objectives match, but he is good for, I'd say he is pretty good for and Survive the Night and STN as well. Because weapon strength is a big factor. He's not that good at pressure enduring an STN, so I'd say, like, honestly, since he cannot run, he doesn't really have the knives, his pressure is, mid. Like, mid, in my opinion. Not that good, not that bad. So he's like mid pressure. But if you hit him a lot during a kill match, that's when the pressure happens more, and that means he gets his ability back faster and his endure. So my personal opinion, I think that part 7 is at least not in like high C, but low B, but with endure doesn't really help his case that much. But part 2, honestly, we'll switch that around. Part 2, I'm gonna say is better than no. But part 7, he's at least C tier in my opinion. Part 8, water speed, destruction, stock, weaknesses, sense, cannot run, grip strength. Part 8 is like the definition of mid. The definition. Because he's mid for objectives, he's mid for STNs, which is Survive the Night, and he's also very mid for kill matches. His mask is neutral. His mask health is neutral. You don't. It's magic sense you can still see from very far, even with rage. His water speed really helps him during objectives, so objectively wise, he's good. Destruction helps him break down doors faster, and let's just say if they lock the door, they can break down the door, and he can knife him and stop him from calling the cops. And his stock is like very helpful during a STN. What would I choose, honestly, in my opinion, a part 8 or a part 7 to play in an objectives match? I've got to say part 7 for the weapon strength because I'm a weapon strength clutch. But if we're looking at stats overall to help, I got to say part 8. And part 8, even with the endure, makes him even better, which I got to put part 8 in B tier and not better than part 6 when it comes to like pressuring and all that for all around wise. Even with the endure buff. Part 9. Shift, stun resistance, stock, cannot run, less hit points, traps. In my opinion, part 9 is like since with the stun resistance buff, he's like a worse Dream Jason in a way, I think. He's like a worse Dream Jason in a way. And like he's kind of like in the middle between, he's like, I don't know, he's like a little bit, I think in my opinion, part 9 is like not better than I don't know. It's just kind of difficult because if we're ranking this based off all 3 modes that counselors play, kill match, objectives, and survive the night, I've got to say, part 9, he has good pressure with his shifts, so he's going to be really pressuring during an STN, which is survive the night. Stun resistance, he'll get up a lot faster and get out of stuns faster to help pressure that counselor to keep moving, to burn their stamina. The stock will help bait them. So I'd say honestly, he's good for a survive the night. If you know how to block and use your shift as a tactical retreat, he'd be okay for a kill match. Objectives, if you know how to play with minus traps since you have 3, that's if you know, then he can be okay for an objectives game. Since you're not really pressuring a lot during objectives, he's good for catching the boat. But honestly, I've got to put him better than part 8, even with the endure. But he's not better than part 6. Free Uber. Stun resistance, plus morph, plus stock. Weaknesses, cannot run, water speed, minus sense. This guy is basically a weaker, like, part 6 in a way. Or no, not part 6, what am I saying? Yeah, he's like, kind of like, oh, I don't know. He's kind of like a weaker part 6, yeah, now that I think about it. His plus stun resistance helps with good pressure, so he'd be around the map easy. Plus morph plus stock as well. Stock, good for baiting counselors, burning their stamina, and thinking that you're shifting. Plus morph, easy for you to get around the map to your objectives, even to your shack to trap, neutral traps, neutral knives. Pretty good for he's pretty good for a kill match, even with the endure buff. So he's like I think he's very good for a kill match. Plus morph helps him get around the map to collect knives. Um, with plus morph. Stock, pretty good. Cannot run, water speed, and minus sense. But with water speed, you can morph on the boat to stop it if it's on a morph spot. If you know your morph spots, he cannot run, so he's not. So you can't really apply that like jogging pressure consistently. And his sense, you can still see pretty well. But I'd say he's very good for kill matches overall. I think he's. I just think he is better than Part 8 on land, but in water, not so much. But Part 8's mid overall. But with the Endure buff, I think that puts him in at least B tier. Part 8, fine in B tier where he is. For Part 6, I'd say he at least, not better than Dream Jason, but pre-Uber, um, I don't know. Part 2, let me go back to Part 2, I'm thinking. With Part 2, minus defense, but that Endure buff helps. I think he's high D, low C. Yeah, high D for sure. Part 4, yeah, he's fine. Let's see. Yeah, back to pre-Uber. Hmm. I think I think at least he's mid. Pre-Uber's like mid. But with the Endure buff, he's good on land, but in water not so much. But I think that yeah, C tier will do. High C, low B. Uber Jason now. This one's basically kind of like a flip-flop. Plus defense, so lower chances of being stunned. Weapon strength, plus rage. He cannot run, his water speed's bad, and his morph is bad. Objectively wise, not so good. He's okay. He can't run, so he's good for a kill match. Good for an. He's not really the best for an like he's okay for an STN, but his rage helps bring that pressure up. So I think Uber Jason, if you know how to combo, collect your knives and everything else, I think Uber Jason himself goes high. What with the Endure buff? With the Endure buff, I think he's up there. Do I think he's better than Part 8? Yeah, I do. Do I think he's better than Part 9? Do I think he's better than Part 9? Nah, I'd have to think. Is he better than Part 9? I think he's better than Part 9. Is he better than Part 6? Hmm, Part 6. They both have minus morph. He has minus defense. They both can't run. One of them has minus water speed. I think he's better than Part 6 on land as well. But in the water, since people barely even take the boat as is, I prefer using pre-Uber because you can just morph on the morph spot on them. So, do I think he's better than Dream Jason? Dream Jason. No. And that's where his run ends. FVJ. FVJ now. Destruction, weapon strength plus hit points. So, it's like he's like a part 8 mixed with part 7 in a way. Destruction helps out a lot with pressure. Weapon strength does too, because you can slash and they'll be injured pretty quickly. The hit points, I'd say he's good. He's good for a kill match. He's good for an STN. His water speed and traps don't really help him out in an OBJ match. But with the Endure, it does not really apply to him when it comes to objectives match. So with Endure, I'm not too sure. Not trying to rhyme on purpose. So, honestly, in my opinion, he would have to go B tier. Not better than. Is he better than Part 8? I think he's better than Part 8. Is he better than Part 9? Part 9. No, he's not better than Part 9. Yeah, I think he's better than Part 9. Better than Part 6. Part 6. That's where his end. That's where his run ends right there. But Uber. Look at Uber. I'm gonna look back one more time. I think Uber honestly goes up to A. No, definitely not. Dream Jason though. You go to Dream Jason real quick. Yeah, I think it goes up to A. Now we are on the next Jason, Reboot. He can run, plus traps, plus rage, minus water speed, minus sense, and minus stun resistance. Now, I think this is the literal definition of a better part 2. And I think he's honestly going to have to go into C tier. Is he better than Pre-Uber? Pre-Uber. Better than Pre-Uber. Well, he doesn't have minus morph. His neutral morph. He has more traps. He gets rage a lot faster. Only problem is his stun resistance. I think it's better than Nah, I don't think he's better than Pre-Uber. MKX can run, rage, endure. Weaknesses: water speed, minus traps, throwing knives. Since plus endure, you take no damage in endure, which is 100% damage resistance. This guy is an absolute unit for a he's an absolute unit for kill matches. That's one I was looking for. Objectives wise, if he can gather his knives, if he gathers knives around the map and places one trap on the phone, I think honestly MKX can be up in B tier. Like high B, low A. But since he's like an absolute unit with pressure, because he can run, rage, and endure, he cannot be stunned at all and 100% damage reduction. But he's terrible in water. So objectives wise, I think he's at least B tier. High B, low A. I think he's better than Part 8. I think he's better than Part 9. I think he's better than FVJ. He's better than Part 6. And I think he's honestly better than Pre-Uber. because of the plus endure. Plus endure, and I think honestly, he goes up in A tier. 2017 Jason. Let's see what we got here. Plus stock, plus defense, plus morph. Can't run, endure, sense. So he's good at baiting the counselors. He's neutral when it comes. He's neutral at objective, so he's not bad or terrible. Actually, he's good for objectives because of the plus morph. The defense, he'd be okay. He'd be good for a kill match. He'd be good for an STN. Overall round pretty good. Minus endure though, only 50% damage, less damage taken. I think at least since if it's 50%, I would say since he doesn't really have any bad weaknesses aside from minus endure, I think he's low B tier. And I think he's better than Part 8. Savini Jason, shift, weapon strength, destruction, weaknesses, water speed, can't run, grip strength. So the only main factor that's causing Savini Jason to not be better than Part 3 is water speed. He is an absolute unit on the land with his shift, his weapon strength, and destruction. He can, his grip strength, you just do a fast kill and that's it. But I think, honestly, Savini Jason goes in S tier. Good for STNs, good for a kill match, good for objectives, aside from the boat, which you can just morph stop it. He's good for pressure, and overall, he's pretty good. Ghost Jason, plus morph, plus destruction, plus throwing knives. Weaknesses, stun resistance, can't run, grip strength. So he's good. I think, honestly, he's good for objectives. Definitely good for a kill match. Mid for actually good for a STN, good for objectives, mid for kill match. Isn't actually he's good for a kill match, but that's his weak point. But I think he would be A tier as well. But I've got to put. I think he's better than Dream Jason at least. Nah. But Ghost Jason, I've got to say, let's see. Let's start him off from the bottom. He's better than Part 2. Dragon. He's better than Part 4. Better than Reboot. Ooh, that was bad. Yeah, anybody can go back to that moment and clip that part. Gotta drink that water. Better than Pre-Uber, in my opinion. Better than Part 7. Better than Part 8. Better than 2017 Jason, in my opinion. Better than Part 7. Better than FVJ. Better than Part 6. Let me drag that. Come on. There we go. Uber. Let me go back to Uber. Uber. Yeah, better than Uber. And for Dream Jason. And I think, honestly, since he doesn't really have any that bad of weaknesses, and less hit points makes him better. So I think that's how it is. So, McFarlane, and we can see there's a new model for it as well. McFarlane. McFarlane. So we have defense, plus morph, more hit points, minus rage, minus throwing knives. But he's neutral and endure. So I think, honestly, he is good. He's fine for a kill match. Actually, no, not so much. Yeah, well, His good main pressure. That's he's fine for a kill match. Definitely more than fine for a kill match. But you have to get knives, and getting knives is pretty simple. I'd say he's good for an OBJ. Water's not stopping him. Land's not stopping him. Minus rage though can be a bit of a problem. Throwing knives, there's a lot on each map. But with the new Endure update, 80% damage reduction, I'd say he's better than Part 2. Better than Part 4. And he stops right here. He goes from F tier to C tier. Is he better than Reboot? No. It's not better than Reboot. It stops there. Nicotero, the last Jason on this list. And then we are done. It is fucking 4 in the damn morning. This is going as a scheduled video to be released at noon. This is not good. He can run. He plus morph, plus stun resistance. So I'd say he's good for a kill match. Yeah, but his health though. With that minus health and lower chance in actually getting out of stuns a lot faster. Can be beneficial if you know how to block just fine. Grip strength, you just do a fast kill. Water speed, you just have to go in a morph spot for the boat. So objective wise, it's not too terrible. Grip strength, you just do a fast kill. STN, he's good. So we're going to do this again now. We're going to do this again. So, is he better than Part 2? Yes. Is he better than Part 4? Yes. Is he better than McFarlane? Yes. Is he better than Reboot? Let's see, Reboot. Eh. Let's see, Reboot. Yeah, he's better than Reboot. Is he better than Pre-Uber? Pre-Uber. Plus stun resistance, plus morph, plus stock. Nicotero. Yeah, I'd say he's better than Pre-Uber. Just barely better than... nah, he's not. And that's where his run ends. Well, this is the final tier list for what, in my opinion, of what the good Jasons are to the mid Jasons to the lower Jasons for Camp Forest Green and what you should play as, in my personal opinion. And let's do a quick recap. We have Part 3 in S tier, Savini in S tier. We have Part 3 as the face of S tier. Savini as the face of S tier. MKX as the face of A tier. We have Part 5, Ghost Jason, Dream Jason. We have Part 8 as the face of B tier. We have Pre-Uber in B tier. Part 6, FVJ. Part 9, 2017. We have McFarlane at the face of C tier. We have Part 7. We have Pre-Uber. We have... What is that? We have Nicotero. We have Reboot. And we have our Part 2 as the face of D tier. And then we have Part 4. That's what I think is the tier list here. And honestly, thank you guys for watching this far. If you even have watched this far. It's been like about maybe an hour, I believe. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys take care. Sleep well. Have a good day today or whatever. And stay safe. And remember, it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and you matter. I'll see you guys in the next one.